This episode is proudly sponsored by HASA, the trusted choice for liquid chlorine. It's better because it offers the highest purity, works instantly, and contains no added CYA. By the bottom feeder, professional-grade battery-powered swimming pool vacuum system, it sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off the bottom feeder with code DVB100. Skimmer, trusted by over 30,000 pool service professionals across North America. Skimmer software helps you save time, grow revenue, and boost your 5-star reviews. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your team, Skimmer's easy-to-use tools and expert support have you covered. Upgrade your business in 2025 with Skimmer. Try Skimmer for 30 days for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going over how not to clean a pool. So I'm going to be focusing on a lot of aspects of pool cleaning in a negative sense of things that you should avoid doing at the pool. And of course, you want to do the things that you're supposed to do. So this is kind of a different take on pool cleaning or pool service. Join my coaching program and take your pool service to the next level. Connect with other pool pros in your area, gain valuable knowledge, and transform your business with personalized one-on-one advice from me. With over 36 years of experience, I'm here to help you succeed like never before. Learn more at poolguycoaching.com. So, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is not showing up at the service account. This is a big problem, yes, and I've gotten many accounts because the other pool service company kind of just ghosted the customer. They stopped coming, they didn't answer their phones, and they just dropped the client. You probably don't want to do this. If you are going to drop a pool, let the customer know, give them a logical reason. The best reason that I would suggest is that you are consolidating your service area because you're overbooked with service accounts, and unfortunately, their pool falls out of your new consolidated service area. Of course, if you're doing a neighbor's pool, modify that a little bit and say that you're overbooked and you're trying to cut back on service accounts. Don't give a specific area. Don't put that in that context because, of course, you're going next door and that's not a good look. But you want to just let the customer down lightly and don't just ghost them. So the first way to not service a pool is to, of course, show up at the pool and not just ghost the customer. Another common thing, and this is something that is a liability issue, is if the customer's water level is low, don't add water to the pool. I know it's tempting to add water and it's frustrating. And if you do have to add water to a pool, let's say you're taking care of a empty house, you would want to put your truck keys on the hose bib and make sure that you don't leave that stop without turning off the water. But this can also be a problem. You could kind of second guess yourself. I've had this happen to myself where I'm like, okay, did I actually turn off the water after I took my keys off of there? It's one of those things where it's going to drive you crazy. So the bottom line is don't fill up the customer's pool. It's a liability issue if you leave the water on and don't turn it off and you leave that stop and go about your day. You can flood the property, flood the neighbor's yard. It's not something that you would want to do. In the least, message the customer and say, can you please add water later when you get home today? Or your pool's low on water. Maybe take a picture to show them how low it is. Or install something. A pool sentry is a great device that you connect it to a garden hose. Sits on the pool deck. It'll add water to the pool for the customer. But you do not want to add water to the pool. Forget to turn it off and then flood the backyard. That's another example of how not to clean a pool. Another one is water testing. I know a lot of guys in my area do flash testing. Basically, they have the yellow OTO. It's not quite yellow because it's so clear reagent, but it does turn yellow when it reacts with the chlorine in the water. And then the phenol red, which is for pH. It'll carry it in their tote and they'll just kind of drop a few drops in the water. And that's how they do their testing for chlorine and pH. Not the best way to test for it. In fact, I saw a guy at the supplier with a cell phone holster kind of thing, and he actually had the OTO and the phenol red in there, and it was like buckled down. Pretty smart and clever, but I just don't think it's the best way to test water. Bob Lowry did a thing at one of his seminars when he was giving these things at the pool show, where he had a fish tank and he had a couple guys come up after he had an OTO tester for chlorine and a phenol red for pH, and he had him put some drops in the fish tank and then guess what the chlorine level was at, and no one got the right level based on just the flash testing. If you're in a rush, if I know this happens, you're busy, especially if you had a windstorm or if it's been raining and you're trying to get through your pools. If you are in a rush to do water testing, test strips are what I would say you should be using. They're great, they're accurate, they're not going to replace your tailored test kit or your photometer, but they're going to give you a reading that's much more accurate than flash testing. Yes, it's an expense, but it's something that is part of what you're getting paid to do, which is balance the pool water, check the chemicals to make sure that they're within range of the LSI, and you want to make sure that you're doing this on a weekly basis because you are actually getting paid to balance the pool water and check the chemistry. So flash testing is a no-no, and another example of how not to clean a pool. Another one would be overusing trichlor in two different forms. Now there's a granular trichlor that I think is highly effective in treating black algae and for algae cleanup. It's a granular trichlor. It's the HASA Algaban, and it's great. It works effectively. However, you can burn the pool surface. You can damage the pool surface. It's not made for vinyl or fiberglass pools, for colored plaster, or even for pebble tech. It's just for white plaster pools. Typically, they're older, and it's a great product to use for black algae. You don't want to use it as your primary sanitizer because the granular trichlor can stain the pool surface. I've seen a lot of people using this in the wrong way in some cases and staining the pool. I've taken over pools. What looks like to me trichlor burns on the bottom from granular trichlor. So you don't want to use granular trichlor only if you're experienced with it and you're doing maybe a black algae treatment or a green pool cleanup with that. Overusing the trichlor tablets is also another problem. Now, you can maintain a pool using this trichlor. It's not a problem, and it's done all the time, and it's kind of an industry standard just to load the floater up with tablets. If you have a 15,000 gallon pool, just put 4 tablets in the floater. If there's an inline chlorinator, just put 4 or 5 tablets there in the summer and don't worry about it. The trichlor is going to dissolve slowly, adding chlorine to the pool, and it's something that makes pool care easy. The problem with that is that it raises the cyanuric acid level to astronomical levels in some cases in pools. I've taken over accounts where I can't even get a reading even with a dilution test. Now, Lamont does make a cyanuric acid test strip that I believe that goes to 500 parts per million, and you may need that in some cases in Southern California because loading up the pool on trichlor is a common practice. Now, you can do this effectively if you do 2 things. One, you partially drain the customer's pool, maybe take out a couple inches every month, or even with evaporation, it's one of those things where the cyanuric acid does not evaporate, only the pure water evaporates. So you can't rely on evaporation in refilling the pool in a lot of cases because you're adding more cyanuric acid than fresh water to the pool. However, you can do partial drains. Most customers have a hose spigot. When you're at the account, you can open that up and drain out a little bit of water and just make sure you close it off. One good way to do this, to make sure that you close it off, is I like to put something over by the equipment, my car keys especially, so that I make sure I turn it off. But partially draining the pool is a great way to do this. If you want to do it in a more careful and calculated way, get a submersible pump, put it on the customer's first step, and plug it in and drain some water out while you're servicing the pool. This is probably safer in a lot of cases because you can't leave the pool without your sump pump, basically. And so you have that option as well. And then the other option is to use a combination of chlorines, which is trichlor tablets with liquid chlorine or cal hypo. Both liquid chlorine and cal hypo have no cyanuric acid. And so you're kind of balancing things out. You're using trichlor tablets, yes, but then you're balancing that out by using a chlorine type that has no stabilizer. So you use less trichlor tablets. You're not going to put 4 or 5 tablets in the floater, maybe 1 or 2 tablets, and then you're going to use liquid chlorine and cal hypo to raise the chlorine level up in the pool each week while you're there. Really effective. It's a great way to use trichlor effectively without raising the cyanuric acid to astronomical levels in the pool. So this is another how not to clean a pool. Not selling automatic cleaners to your customer is another thing that I see often. I'll take over a service account and I'll go back there and I'll look at it and I'll be like, this would have been perfect if it had an automatic cleaner. So I'll take the account, and then after a few weeks, I'll ask the customer if it's okay if I put a demo automatic cleaner in. The ones I'd like to demo are the Hayward Aquanaut or pool cleaner, because those are pretty bulletproof. There's really not much that can stop them. If you keep them in good working order, you know that if you put it in the pool, it's going to leave the pool pretty spotless. Yes, it doesn't climb the walls as well as the older version of it, but it's going to run and it's not going to stop sometime midweek and cause you to lose that sale. So I'll put it in the pool and then I'll leave it in there for 2 weeks, and I'll tell the customer, if you like the cleaner, I can actually install one. And usually they'll say, yes, no problem. The pool looks great all week long. And that's kind of how you solve the problem with taking over a service account without a cleaner. Don't do any hard selling when you get the account. There's some actual companies here that won't even, they'll take the pool, but they'll give a surcharge because it doesn't have an automatic cleaner, or they won't take the pool at all. But I like taking these pools and giving it a shot and hoping the customer will be reasonable and want the cleaner in there. There are a few people that are like, I don't like the look of the hoses in the pool. That's typical of some people here in Southern California, but maybe not atypical across the country. I just think that the suction side cleaners are perfect because they're vacuuming the pool all week long. So when you get to the stop, you just have to spot vacuum, brush, balance the pool, and the pool looks swim ready. Some ways that I kind of sell this to the customer is that I'm there at the pool for 20 minutes a week, and there's all kinds of things that happen. The wind blows, the gardener shows up, stuff falls in the pool. I'm not there to get it out. Certain things can stain the pool surface. This is an important thing to emphasize to the customer, that certain things that can fall into the pool can actually stain the pool surface. And the automatic cleaner is a great way to prevent staining because it'll pick up a lot of things that fall in there, especially dirt that has metal ions in it. I've had many service accounts, I'm going on a side note here, where the pool system went down and you can't get a hold of the client, so the pool is down for 3 or 4 weeks. This happens. It's not typical, but it can happen if you can't get a hold of the client. A lot of clients here are out of the country. They don't live in their homes, and so getting a hold of them sometimes is difficult. And I've had instances where once I'm able to get everything running again, the dirt that was in the pool actually stained the plaster because there's a lot of stuff in the dirt, organic contaminants and metals, and it will stain the pool. So one thing to tell the customer is it'll keep the pool clean all week. Also, will remove things that may stain the pool surface. So it makes your job easier, of course, and it just keeps that pool clean all week. So one big mistake is not selling the cleaner. They're not going to replace the service. Most people that have pool service cannot do the pool themselves. They don't have time to manage it, and they don't really care if the pool has a cleaner in there or not, and it's helping you out. In my opinion, I've never had a problem. So all of your pools should have some type of automatic cleaner, either a suction cleaner, a pressure side cleaner. And for those customers that don't like the hoses in the pool, there are really great cordless robotic pool cleaner models. So how do I manage a pool with a robotic pool cleaner? It's very simple. I'll tell the customer that they can use the cleaner during the week. Just make sure they put it on the charging, wherever they charge it at. Typically, you would want to store it out of the sun. Most customers have a patio or an area where they can put the cleaner. You can also get a cover for it. You can go on Amazon and buy a cover for the cleaner. So you can leave it out in the sun if you have to, but just get one of those covers on Amazon to cover the cleaner. And I would recommend for a cordless cleaner, the Polaris Freedom or the Dolphin Liberty 200 or 300. Those are really good cordless cleaners that have a really good track record. The updated iPair Scuba S1 Pro is also a good cleaner. The firmware update really fixed that cleaner, and it's a great cordless cleaner as well. And then I would just instruct the customer to keep it on the charging pad and then to put it in the pool when they need to use it. And then on the service day, you're going to put it in the pool after you're done cleaning their pool, and you're going to turn it on, and they'll have to retrieve it from the pool themselves later on. It can stay in the pool for a couple days. It's not going to kill the cleaner. The seals on the water seals in there are really great. So if the customer can't get it out for a few days, and I've had customers leave them in all week because they forget about it, not a problem. Just take it out. It's one of those drawbacks with a robotic pool cleaner, especially the cordless ones, you have to charge it. But it's one of those things where even if the customer doesn't like hoses in the pool, I'll sell them a corded cleaner as well. I prefer the corded cleaners because then you don't have to worry about recharging them. You just put them in there. Some have a weekly cleaning cycle as well that can stay in the pool all week. I don't really like robotic pool cleaners as much as I like suction cleaners and pressure side cleaners because there's really nothing the customer needs to do in that case. But if you have customers that are pushing back on the cleaner, sell them a robotic pool cleaner. Just let them know that there is some involvement on their part. Some customers love them because then the day they're having a party, they put it in the pool and it leaves the pool spotless. And robotic pool cleaners do clean the pool much better, I think, than the other cleaner types. But they're limited because they're in the pool for a short burst of time and then you have to take them out of the pool. So this is another how not to clean a pool, not having an automatic cleaner in the pool to help you out. Here's one that I think is really problematic out there, and that's not cleaning the pool filter in a timely fashion. Now, I know it's a pain to clean pool filters. There's a few guys that like doing it. They love cleaning the filters. I'm not one of them. I've cleaned so many filters in my career that I just don't like doing it. And some people actually pay other people to clean their filters. They don't like it that much that they hire people to clean their filters. Actually, a good side business, by the way. If you have time, you can post a sign at your supplier that you do filter service, and a lot of people like that. There was one guy locally here that actually would take the manifold out, the top manifold D filter. He would pull that whole thing out of the pool. So his method was let it drain, leave it there for a few minutes, let it dry up just slightly, and then he's a pretty strong guy. He would pull the whole manifold out, put it in the back of his pickup truck, and take it to his house to clean it. Really actually a good service because all the DE is not going into your customer's property, and he's taking it and cleaning it and servicing it. And if there's any broken grids, he'll change them and bring them back and put it back in. Don't need to go to that extent. You can just clean it in the customer's backyard if you find a spot that's appropriate. Same with the cartridge filters. You don't have to take them anywhere. I wouldn't recommend cleaning them out in front in the street. The city may come by and question you cleaning something into the gutter. Here in California, they're really sensitive about anything going into the sewer line in the front of the house. But cleaning the filters regularly is an important factor in overall pool care. If you don't clean the filter regularly, the water quality is going to be suffering. You're going to use a lot more chemicals, and the runtime of the pool is going to have to be increased to compensate for that dirty filter. So there's a lot that goes into pool care, and cleaning the filters on a regular basis is really important. What kind of schedule should you be on? Well, if you have a single cartridge filter, I would say clean that once a month for sure. If you have a quad type cartridge filter with the 4 large cartridges, you can get away with cleaning those every 6 months in my area, maybe every 4 months in some other areas that have a lot of dirt in the pool. And for the large DE filters, the 48 square foot or 60 square foot, I would say every 6 months with backwashing in between, or every 4 months in certain areas as well. So 2 to 3 times a year, you're taking that filter apart and cleaning it and putting it back together. The ideal months to clean them in my area would be in March and then again in October. These are ideal because you have a lot of winter storms here. Rain washes dirt in the pool, windstorm. So having a clean filter in October gets it done right before the winds pick up. October, November, December, January, February. And then cleaning it in March, beginning of April in some cases, gets you ready for the start of the summer pool season. So you start the summer season with a clean filter, but not cleaning the filter on a regular basis is going to cost you a lot of time and effort, and you're going to be overusing chemicals really just to keep that pool looking halfway decent, when a simple filter cleaning is going to cure that problem and make your job a lot easier. Another thing just added onto this is also changing the filter elements. So if you have a DE filter, I would say those grids last about 3 to 4 years maximum. You want to change all 8 grids. And then for the cartridge filter, every 3 years you want to change those 4 quad type cartridge filters. For the single cartridge filters, use your judgment, but those need to be changed every 6 months to a year in some cases. And you want to change those out regularly. Just have a schedule, note it down on the filter itself with a Sharpie, or have it logged somewhere that you're going to change when you change the cartridges last in that filter, so you have some kind of record of that. And if you have a sand filter, you want to be backwashing that sand filter whenever the filter gauge, the PSI on the gauge goes up by 10 PSI. So if a clean filter is at 20 PSI and the gauge goes to 30 PSI, you want to backwash that sand filter. You don't want to over backwash a sand filter because it's not going to be effective and it really doesn't make that filter work better. Only backwash a sand filter when the PSI goes up by 10 PSI on that sand filter. So there you have it. This is how not to clean a pool, which is a kind of tongue-in-cheek of how you should be cleaning the pool. If you avoid doing all of these things and do the opposite, then you're going to have an easy day out there, build up your business, and have really clean pools on your pool route. If you're looking for other podcasts I've recorded, you can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. On there, there's a podcast icon on the banner. Click on that, and there'll be a drop-down menu of other podcasts for you to listen to. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.